Yo, hey everyone. Welcome to Cole's channel. Today we're going to be talking to you about our reaction to the 5.5V patch notes, I think.
5.55. We're in 5.5 right now.
5.55. Yeah, exactly.
5.55. And so we just got the live letter
Yeah.
information at the FanFest, and I did a condensed summary video on this channel already. So the link's going to be somewhere, description. I might throw it in the comments. We'll see where I put it. It's going to be somewhere easy, hopefully, to get into. But yeah, I didn't do my reaction, so this is kind of my reaction to it. And if you want like the too long didn't watch version of it, I'm excited. Obviously, anyone doing any Relic content is gonna be super excited. But further than
I
that,
love
there's
it.
so much more. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were farming the Byakko for you. Like, even you're getting something from this. Like, well, I mean, you do the Relic, obviously, but like, you're getting even more from it.
No, exactly. I love farming Byakko. I mean, the Byakko cub's cool. The weapons are cool.
Oh god, the Byakko cub is
Fun.
so cute. We have so many cute minions in this
It's
game. It's
so
just like the
cute.
fox kit, the Byakko. I was running the cute justice, which was a play on the brute justice savage fight. Well, I guess it came in normal mode, obviously too. But I'm like, that was fun. That was really cute having that. But do you want to? Let's start off on the long term schedule if you are good with that.
Yeah, sure. We can do that.
So what I'm most looking forward to is obviously the Make It Rain and Moonfire Fair event. Those are always great. They give us extremely good glamour options for the Moonfire Fair. Make It Rain is always interesting to see because it gives more gold saucer points, and not to mention we are also seeing the Lucian Princess attire coming back and the car, which I know you missed out on. I actually
Well,
we were
no, I
just
wasn't
talking
playing at
about
the
it.
time, and I was so salty about that because I was like, there's this cool car and there's this like awesome like leather jacket. I'm like, I can't get it because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't start playing till March of 2020, so I was super bummed about that. So I'm glad they're bringing it back, so I can go do that now.
Which I think is fantastic because we were literally just talking about this a week or a few weeks ago about like where I got like my current jacket from, because I went back to this glam just because I'm like, I like the brown leather jacket, and you're like, what the heck, where's that from? And then we actually checked the Mog station, it wasn't there, at least not that I could find. And so now it's back, and I think at least for us that works out really great. um Other things,
Yeah,
5 point, sorry.
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna move on to 5.58 with data center travel.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. It's gonna be awesome because,
It's gonna
like,
be really
as
good.
you know, I came over here to play with you, so I had lots of friends that are like on Crystal still, and I also have some another friend that plays on Excalibur. I think that's the other data center. So
Hmm.
it's gonna be great to be able to play with all of them again. So
I think it's gonna be really good because it's just like there are so many people that like are in my like Twitter, or they're in the Discord server, or they're like on like just YouTube commenting, and it's just like they're like, hey, I wish that I could like meet up with your stuff, and I mean, or experience the horrors of going into your FC house that is currently being made, which is terrible, but it's still being made. So I think that that's going to open up so much possibility. And even for raiding, I think that this might change the face of raiding forever, because it's like you previously could only do your own data center, and now bam, that has literally been kicked wide open. It's crazy
yeah,
to
no, that's
me.
definitely gonna be great. And honestly, like, yeah, did they ever even explain like the logic behind why they have like the different data centers for North America? You'd think it would that all the North
Just so
American
much
ones would
data
just be together.
transfer and just so much server data. I think that it might
Yeah,
have something to do with like how 1.0 was kind of like architected, and like just some of the technical limitations on that. I guess obviously technical limitations. I mean, haha, wait, they're this. Well, technical limitations, duh. But I mean, that's something that like I obviously don't know too much on. More than that, that would be something that they would answer. I honestly I had hoped during the Q&A that we might have gotten more questions like that, but that's the tech nerd in me speaking. But yeah, obviously I
yeah,
don't
no, I
know.
just think it'd be interesting, just to know like what was basically the limitation, what was so difficult that they are only doing it now, right? Like when the game's been out for like, it would be 7 years now, I think, or even
What?
longer. It's
No, 1.0, it's been like a decade. I think it was like 2011
yeah,
for like 1.0.
yeah.
A Realm Reborn was like
Realm
2013.
Reborn.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, for me, I consider the game starting with like Realm
Oh
Reborn because I
god.
played 1.0 and I just couldn't do it. I was like, what is this garbage? And then I came back,
Oh my god.
just a year ago, and I'm like, this game is so good now.
Okay, I think anyone being honest, uh, like 1.0 was rough. The
I
freaking
couldn't deal with
flower
it.
pots. The flower pots were overpowered. For those who will get that reference of the flower pots, you get it. Oh god, I wish I still had like an original character so that I had like the meteor tattoo, but alas, that was long, long gone. But yeah, we should move on to the next topic rather than reminisce
Exactly.
about 1.0 though. People are going to be like, we want the reaction to the live letter, which fair.
Yes.
So I'm really gonna like. Obviously, they didn't say much actually at all about the epilogue quests, but they were talking about epilogue quests for the current alliance raids. Obviously, that's the Yorha, that is the Nier crossover, which we saw references to both the like Nier Automata games as well as the original Nier games. I think that it was very beautiful. Like we saw like some Drakengard in there. I'm really curious how that'll go. I obviously have no idea where, but
Yeah, like it'll be really interesting to see, like, what happens.
mm-hmm.
Exactly, more of the story there. Like I loved the current Nier raids. Oh, it was so sad though. I felt so sad that the poor dwarf, his poor wife. What was her name? Like Anog, I think, or is that the male
Honog
one? I
and
can't remember.
Anog.
Yeah, his wife. She like had to sacrifice herself, and it's just so sad, man. I was like, my feels, my
I'm pretty
feels.
sure that the brother and sister. Am I going crazy? I might be going crazy right now.
Are they
I'm
brother and
so
sister?
tired from
Thought it was his
FanFest.
wife. I don't know.
No, I
I
thought it
always
was
do the
brother and
raids at like
sister.
midnight, so it could be, but I'm
Oh my
confused.
god, I'm so
Yeah,
tired right
it
now
was
that I
sad.
can't catch it. I'm pretty sure they're brother and sister.
Oh,
FanFest
okay.
has left me like so drained. I can like I
Okay.
literally have like a stack of Discord messages that I'm like I
Right.
need to reply to these now. But oh my god, FanFest has been crazy on my
Okay.
end.
Still sad.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I really also want to talk about Byakko and Tsukuyomi because I think that that is actually worth reacting to. A lot of people are just like, "Oh, it was just a bug fix. That's boring." Okay, no, those are actually probably my favorite weapons from the trial weapons from all of the trial weapons is the Byakko and Tsukuyomi because the Byakko with the ink effect and the Tsukuyomi weapons are just gorgeous. Like take for instance me on my bard, which I play a heck of a lot. And remember, this bow is competing with Terpander Lux, which for anyone who's like what is a Terpander Lux? It is like the orbital cannon of bows. You cannot miss a Terpander Lux from like a mile away. It is huge. But I have
A
been using.
giant relic.
It's huge. It's huge. But what I'm using right now is the folding Tsukuyomi bow, and I've been using that for many weeks now in a row. It's like my quote unquote real life kind of like Inuyasha Kagome archer feel. For anyone who watched anime back in the day, Inuyasha anime, Kagome was like this girl who would be like in this outfit and like just real life attire and use a bow and be like, yeah. So that's kind of where that's inspired from. And so to me, seeing Byakko and Tsukuyomi become easier to obtain, cheaper, I actually think is really good. People might be like, "Oh, well, everyone's gonna have them," and I'm like, "What's the problem?" I don't. I see. I'd rather have everyone enjoy it and people, especially new players, because it's just like I literally just gifted my sister like a Tsukuyomi one as one of her birthday gifts. It's just like it's a gorgeous thing. It is something people want to use, and so I'm just like, knock down these gates, knock down these barriers. We have new players coming into the game, and you know what? If you see the Byakko weapon and you see the ink effect, and you're like, "This is the most cool thing I've seen," now you have a better chance of getting it. It's still going to be insanely expensive. Like if these weapons suddenly dropped to 100k, or if you think that's going to happen, you're joking yourself. Like I've been in the market for so long that it's just like even with Zervanite Carapaces. Actually, I'm gonna look it up right now. Zervanite Carapace, what is it? Of the demon weapons. It's just like I'm just gonna pick up a few here. Yeah, I'm just looking up a few. Even with Zervanite Carapaces being so cheap because I guess people's inventories were flooded with it. Players like me were like preparing. Yeah, like Song of the Demon right now in Gilgamesh is going for like 875 gil. It's 75,000 gil. Katana the Demon 700k. Like Shield of the Demons at just about 800k. It's just like I wouldn't worry about that. Like they're obviously still going to be quite expensive. So I wouldn't worry about that. But my thing is it's more accessible, and that's super important to me. I don't know.
Exactly, and the weapons are beautiful. Yeah, like I'm actually using the Senrio one, so those are different. But I also like the Byakko and Tsukuyomi ones.
I think that they're gorgeous, and even
Yeah,
right now
it's
you're
not really,
running around with the Nidhogg glam on your ass.
yeah. That one was so cheap though. They were literally like 20K or something. It was crazy.
I wonder why. I think that it might have been due to Ishgard Restoration. See, I never really had
Maybe.
the time to dive too hard into Ishgard Restoration stuff, but I think that maybe they just flooded it with Nidhogg scales. But mind you, that gave you a weapon that you were using and you thought was pretty. I
Yeah,
think
no,
that's
it's very
fantastic.
cool. I love
Accessibility
the
is
red
important.
here. See,
Yeah, oh
matches my
no,
jacket. It's
it's
cool.
beautiful. I remember back in the day when it first came out, I got that as a warrior axe because I was playing a lot of warrior at the time.
Nice.
I love it. Um, that's kind of all my thoughts on that. I wanna. Do you have anything else before we dive into relics?
I think we can dive to the relics and posture now.
Okay, I'm just gonna write down the timestamp to just keep on
For sure.
top of it. Otherwise, I lose timestamps. But I'm just gonna say flat out, a lot of people I know aren't super into the story, especially with a lot of WoW refugees. I get it, like story skipping cutscenes, that's totally okay. But to me, I really like the fact that it needs patch 5.4 completed because the story can be super duper dark now, especially with what we've seen in 5.4, which with the empire falling into ruins, everything that we saw in 5.4, it might be super amazing and really epic. I think that it can go really dark now, as well as like we were seeing like the inverse Balius, lunar, not inverse. I was gonna be like reverse Balius, and I'm like, no, no, not reverse. But like the lunar one, it's just ties into the story in my mind. I might be taking it a little bit too far, but I really do see
Oh,
that connection myself at least.
oh, dude, I could see it getting really dark. Like a lot of the storylines have been super dark. Even like the weapons were like
Oh, the
brutal.
weapons storyline. Oh my god, that was an emotional. That was a roller coaster
Like
for anyone who
yeah,
hasn't done it yet. Even if you don't want to do the fights, even if you don't care about land waffles, the story is worth going through. It is.
it is.
It's super dark and super good. It's like it's good. It's worth it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no. It's so dark.
it's super good though. I do want to say about this story though that I like that the devs brought up branching choices that are going to be impactful. Obviously they didn't give much more details than that, but it's just like a lot of the choices that you're given in game are like, does this impact you in any way? Not really, because it could restrict things. But now we're seeing it in that, hey, you're going to be given a branching choice that is going to have ramification, and they warned us pretty actively during the live letter during FanFest. Like, you're going to have this choice, and it's going to be significant. So I am a fan of that. Would I like that all the time? No, not in an MMO, but
No, no.
seeing it in sparse amounts like this is like, okay, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see just how significant any sort of ramifications are, right? Because this is an MMO, so you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be like gated. You don't want to make the wrong choice, and then suddenly players are just gated off from like accessing, like, a dungeon or something.
Mm-hmm. Which would
Yeah,
super suck. So I'm curious to see what this is going to be like because they gave us a pretty clear warning, and I'm like, okay, what is this going to lead to? Um, Resistance honors, which is a leveling system for those who aren't super familiar. Basically, our level cap, quote unquote level cap, our resistance rank, which is like level, can hit a cap of 25, but we can level, quote unquote level, past that with resistance honors, past 25. And resistance honors are like attribute points where you can slot them into HP, damage dealt, or healing, and that these are going to be apparently, according to what the dev said, very, 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 very significant bonuses. But they said to not grind it out because that is going to be extremely grindy, or they use different words. But what I took away is don't grind it out because you'll go crazy. But
yeah,
my thoughts. I'll let you start on this one.
yeah. I think it's just great that there's something to do, right? So like we're gonna have like 6 months now until the release of Endwalker. So there's gonna be like a lot of time where you're kind of just waiting for that expansion to release. So it's good that there's something to do, right? So you can go and you can spend time in Bozja. You can kind of just like chill out, try to level that system up, try to unlock the relic weapons. I don't think there's a real need to grind it out. So I mean that's good. It's just there. It's
Mm-hmm.
really just feels like filler content to me, right? So it's just like we're just gonna give you this, so you have something to do
I
while
mean,
you wait for
everything's
the
filler content. It's a video game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, define filler content. It's just like a lot of people only play this game literally for housing, literally, and so
Huh,
it's like, I mean, or
okay.
glamour.
It's more filler than like I don't know something like the main story of a expansion. Okay.
Oh, I mean, I guess, but then you could argue the weapons are filler. You could argue the crafting system is filler. I mean, but I mean, it depends. See, his WoW mentality's coming out. If it's not a raid, it's filler. I'm teasing, obviously. That's not how he actually feels. Before anyone goes in the comments saying, "Oh, predictable WoW player that cannot be redeemed."
Yes.
I swear they're good. They're not all the same.
I know exactly.
But to me, I think that this is actually a really healthy system because I think, especially for me, it's just like when I hit the current cap of level 15, it was like, okay, what does this really get me? And yeah, it gives you lost actions, which is really cool, but it's like you couldn't really level past 15, and it was like, it felt kind of, even now as I'm doing like DR, I'm still trying to not say that at all because I butcher it unintentionally. Um, Going into DR and grinding it out, it's been like I have kind of hit the wall of progression, and so seeing an honor system that takes that progression a few steps further, I think is incredibly healthy for the game because it's like I want to have like a longer term goal, and now here you're getting rewarded with literally more HP, more damage dealt, more healing, and that is
Yeah.
super powerful, especially when you consider things like DR Savage, which is, in my opinion, still content I'm a little intimidated to start diving my toes into. But it's just like,
Exactly.
okay, are you gonna go into DR Savage now with like double HP, double healing, and double like damage? I mean, that
Yeah.
would be really nice.
Yeah. So if you remember, we talked about DR Savage, and we
Mm-hmm.
thought, well, at the time, I thought, and I still do that. It's kind of ridiculous to get 48 people together and then try to do content that's that difficult.
They also made
So
it that you can enter with 24, but to me, that's still too hard to get. It's still inaccessible to me. It's more accessible than before. It's half, so obviously it's more accessible, but I still can't get it. I still can't get it. I have, mind you, I have had so many things on my plate right now with the website and everything. It's been like I haven't been able to do that, but 24 people is still inaccessible. And I mean, to
yeah.
me, I like small content just because I don't
Mhm.
have, and people might be like, oh, it's like you're like making like all these videos and like you have like almost 8,000 subscribers in like just a little over a year. Like, of course you can get 24 people. You are so beyond wrong. Anyone that thinks that is so wrong. Or maybe I should like leverage it differently. I don't know, but to me it's like I have like a core group of people that like I'm super around, and then even it's like hard for me to even imagine going to 12. And then now it's double that for 24. Like, I like smaller group content. Like, getting a group of 4 people to do Pass of the Dead together is an incredibly different scenario. Like, I can run and grind and have tons of fun in Pass of the Dead or Heaven on High when that was new content in Stormblood. I had no issue with that. But it's just like as soon as you go past 8 people, and mind you, this is a criticism I've levied against WoW raids, so don't think that this is me hating on specifically 14 content because that's certainly not the case. I mean, actually, I'll let you explain for them. How much have I complained about even 20 people in Mythic raids?
You hate it because you think it's like a pain to organize that many people, and it is. It is.
Now, what about heroic raids that you took me on with even more, like 35 or 40 people? My god, what was my reaction? Because it cheapens it if I say it, so you tell them. It's the censored version.
Well, it can certainly be a little bit of a mess, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, when you have 30 people and you have some people in there that don't know what they're doing. So, I mean, the same is true of a group of 8 people. It's just with 8 people, it's easier to,
Well, you also get to know
make
them
sure
better.
everyone in there is good.
I mean, it's not even about good because you can foster growth. You actually, with 8 people, it's just much more close knit and tight knit. And but basically, my feelings is that it's like DR Savage is still very inaccessible. But what I'm seeing is with these resistance honors is like, okay, it might currently be inaccessible for me, but in the future, with enough resistance honors amplifying my damage, HP, and healing, maybe it's going to make it dramatically, intensely easier. And I mean, what might happen is I just funnel everything into healing and HP just to make sure that I can go through that. to me that is huge to me, because right now DR Savage is still super inaccessible for me, which I want smaller group content. This big group content is so incredibly difficult for me, and I'm saying that with like obviously like this platform, it's just it's not possible for me to do at this point. And like I've tried it in the past so hard, but it's like even with 24 people I'm just but sorry. I went off on that. What are your thoughts on the attribute system, unless you think I've covered it all?
I'll just keep it short. So I would just say I think it's excellent that they're adding a new system to basically increase your power within obviously the Bush and Southern Front, but also the associated continent like DR and the other raids. So that's going to make something like DR Savage more accessible, which will make it easier to get the servers bound, which is something that I think is really cool that I'd love to have. So
It is so cool.
That's great. If that becomes easier, then maybe I can get that. So.
Actually, speaking of the rewards, let's just dive into that. I like the rewards that we were shown. The bike and the housing items, I definitely like the housing items. I'm super happy with our front yard, but I think that like some of these really could be really good. I'm gonna be honest, I think they're holding back on the armors very intentionally. Yoshi P only showed one particular armor set, and I'm thinking Stormblood's armor sets for the final relic step were extremely flashy, extremely glowy. The tank set is still iconic. The maiming set is still iconic. And yeah, I feel like the WoW factor is really hidden for now. Let alone the relic weapons. Obviously, we haven't seen any of those. The rewards, I'm fairly excited, even for the ones, even with the little view we've had. I'm excited for it.
Same. I love doing the relic quests, like just for my the few classes that I made. So like I'll do my white mage and my red mage, and yeah, I'm like I really want to see what it looks like. I hope it looks better. I didn't really like what the Law Orders Cane looked like, to be honest with you. So
Yeah, and that's
maybe
one thing
the
is like,
final form will look a little better.
yeah, I mean that's one thing is it's like, I think it's important to realize that like we have multiple different relics. You can go back, and if you like the Realm Reborn relics, like I love the white mage cane, you can go back and do that. Or if you like the Heavensward relics, like Terpander Lux that I was just talking about is from Heavensward relics for the Bard. Like you just given options, and I always think no matter what the context is, more options are extremely valuable, because everyone has different preferences, and it's just like if you like this, go for it. If you don't like this other thing, okay, well check out the different options. I think it's always healthy to have a smorgasbord of options, and I personally think that they're going to go all out with the relic weapons, and I'm super excited because what we've seen with Tsukuyomi and Byakko weapons is super intensely cool. Even the Hades weapon, which the Hades weapon isn't even my preference of a weapon. Like, it's not necessarily for me, but I know other people that really love it. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with this, personally.
Same. It's going to be really amazing just to see what all these look like, and maybe I don't know, maybe I'll be blown away by a couple of them, and I'll have to farm some more relics.
And that pause was funny because I literally just saw him spitting on a way.
Well, I was just like, okay, is he going to ask me to talk? Like, I don't know. And then I'm like, okay, it's a break. I should talk.
No, I
There
tell you
go.
to interrupt me. Jeez.
My spinny whale. Do you like my spinny whale?
I do. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And this is the
Very
original whale
that's the
mount. This
whale.
isn't the
That's the
lunar
whale.
whale.
Now the lunar whale's ridiculous.
We're not talking about the lunar whale.
Looks like a spaceship. It's cool.
Uh-huh.
Giant spaceship.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyhow, that I guess is like all my thoughts on this patch. I'm actually really looking forward to it.
Yeah, same. Honestly, like I don't really have anything else to add. It's just amazing to see, what's going on with bozjan. I guess I can add this. Like I wonder what the choice is going to be. Honestly, like if the choice is like, cool, maybe, if you choose the wrong thing, like, you know, something bad happens to a Rothgar, then I'll be sad. I'll be like, no,
I mean, that would
not to
always
Rothgar.
be sad. Let's not think about such sad things.
If it's like the Femro or something, what was her name? The Femro. If it's like, you have to pick the right option or she goes away, I'd be like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, she was not a very popular character. I think a lot of people disliked her, which I think is very common for a villain character. It's just like I'm thinking about another storyline with a very popular to dislike villain that was introduced in recent patches, and Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, you mean nothing with? Yeah,
Shush.
yeah.
Don't give it
Well,
away.
at least
Anyhow, thanks everyone for tuning in, and you know the drill.
throw a spinning lunar whale at that like button and cat daddy that subscribe button. Peace out,
Yes.
dudes.